My new thing, fits in a clock, rakes in a car, pulls on my brain. Are you ready to see? This is my new thing. Are you ready to see? This thing is my new thing. Shyness will show, excitement will glow. I'm sharing this thing. That thing is my new thing.
Hello, everybody. It's comedian Dan Wilbur.
And I'm Zach Sims, and I'm also a comedian. That's right. Take that, Dad. You're listening to My New Thing, a show about obsessions/interests.
Sometimes I have an interest. Sometimes it's a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, it's a crippling obsession that will kill me.
Absolutely.
You know,
Like
Adderall
or heroin.
Yeah.
These are all obsessions.
I don't really get like I got to do more of this from heroin. Even though that is its main feature.
I was going to say, I think that most people who do heroin, that is the feeling they have.
They want to get right, and then they sleep standing up.
Sure.
It's less of an excitable drug. The way that cocaine...
Sure.
This is exactly what I want to talk about, because this is, I think, the only part my mom listens to.
Well, it's the beauty of mushrooms is that mushrooms and acid are like the two drugs that when you're done, you're like, thank God. You know, that is like the nice, nobody, unless you're Phil Jackson trying to figure out the triangle offense, nobody's going on a bender of acid.
And that just reminded me, we saw a show, and I've seen many Broadway shows recently, and we talk about Broadway on this podcast today a little bit. And every single show I've ever seen on Broadway, no matter how good it is, no matter how much serotonin is coursing through my brain, I think, God, I hope this is over soon.
Sure.
Even though I'm like enjoying it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's 2 intermissions?
Yeah.
2 for Othello? I think that's enough.
They had 2 intermissions for Othello?
I think so. I can't remember. No, there was one. It was only one. There was 2 for August Osage County.
Oh.
Great play.
It does feel like a very modern thing to be like, I just spent half my rent and I've looked forward to this event for 6 weeks. And the moment you get up, you're like, okay, so the intermissions isn't like an hour and a half. I can look at my phone then. And then after that, I can play a video game. So that'll be good.
I think about it in those terms. I'm like, if I go to this early enough, if I go to the early show, I can still come home and read a book and be alone with my thoughts.
I need a little downtime, like even, a show, you get back late from a show. I still need that hour, just to watch Homicide: Life on the Street or whatever. And
that's right. Now, do you have this problem where if you get home too late, you can't get to sleep? So I'll get home at like 2 a.m. from a show and I'll go, well, I guess it's just me and you, brain, till 4:30.
It's a performer's high.
Yeah, that's
which,
what it is.
Considering the shows we're doing, you wouldn't think it would be that high. But it is still...
The heroin of shows. 6 people at a bar.
But it is. And it's also, to me, I can't just go home and immediately lay in bed. I often think of when there was a Family Matters where I think maybe it was a cold open where Carl came home from a long shift, oppressing the masses, let's be honest, as a police officer.
ACAB.
Absolutely. And I just remember he got there to his wife and he just said, my head can't wait to hit that bed. And I think about it all the time, and I've never been able to do that. I've never been able to just come home and immediately, probably because I'm not doing strenuous physical labor, but still.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, even when I run, I started to run at night, and that's worse.
Wow, sailor's delight.
That's right. Running at night. Ooh, boy. I don't need any kind of any more stimulus.
I like a night run, personally. Yeah.
Well, just the beauty of maybe almost getting hit by a car.
Sure.
Just really helps you put your life in perspective. Now, Zach, what are you obsessed with this week?
Oh, boy. I wish you hadn't asked. You know what I'm a little bit obsessed with is, as a lifelong baseball fan, is baseball All-Star Week has just happened. And the home run derby just happened. And boy, oh boy, do I love those taters.
Those dingers.
Absolutely. Ding dong, Cheech and Chong. That ball went very long. And it is something where I feel like Chris Berman gets a bad rap now because he's senile. and he's a pure example of why no one should have the same job for 40 years. Absolutely. But he's a legend, and, he was a legend of the home run derby calls, just the old back, gone, and it was great. And now it's just they have different people doing it, and it doesn't have the same luster. It's just like, oh, he hit that far. And that one also went far, So I guess just I miss, and it's some of the few good childhood memories of with the fam sitting down, watching the home run derby, cheering on Barry Bonds. And I guess just the old nostalgia that sports induces.
Now, how do you feel about the phrase "touch 'em all time"? Because I was a Cleveland guy, and I don't really like it.
Sure, I think it's important that he says "touch 'em all," because if he said
all.
"touch them all," it would for some reason seem more toxic. Now, Cleveland's Tom, first name I don't remember his last name, but he's a legend.
You're right.
The Cleveland radio guy.
Yeah,
absolutely. I find I'm okay with that one. I always liked the old Chicago White Sox announcer. I always liked he would go, and you can put it on the board. Yes, that's a good one. It would be tough for a derby because
he's waiting for it
to fall
to go. Yeah,
which was when I announced high school football. In high school, I was the announcer for the football team for a couple of years. I stole that the first year for my touchdown call.
Oh, yeah.
And then the second year, I really stopped caring, and I would just shout how many points they had after every score. So I would just go, 17! after a touchdown.
You didn't taunt them and go, scoreboard.
No.
To random strangers.
No.
Now, you got in trouble once for saying queef?
No, I said twat.
Oh, nice.
I said...
almost better.
It was right after Katrina, not to brag.
Sure.
And so the game was in the afternoon. And I think that was part of it. I think it was I had just gotten back from Nebraska where I was staying. And so there was a lot in the air, and we're playing Ellender and just beating the absolute hell out of them.
Right.
And we were joking around, and my buddy co-announcer Tyler went to say twice, and he went, "Twa? Twice?" So I went, "Did you just say twat?" And I said twat. He didn't say twat. I didn't even know what twat meant. But then, because they would re-air the games, there was actually a fight on the field during the game because Ellender was just getting their ass kicked so bad. They tried to win the fight physically. So everybody in the school actually watched the game for the first time ever because they wanted to see the fight. But they edited out the fight, but they kept in the twat. So I became quite legendary for a while. And then nothing happened, but then I almost got suspended because a few games later I had said something negative about how the team was playing.
Right.
And they got mad about that.
Well, I got kicked off announcements in high school because I would do all the announcements as Milton from Office Space.
Oh, that's fun.
There's a special game tonight between the and
that's
someone
great.
came in mid-sentence and was like, that will be the last time Dan Wilbur does these announcements. I felt really good about it. Now, I'm obsessed, and I'll just keep this brief because it's the most boring obsession there is. I have been sober, speaking of heroin,
You're
off the sauce beer just for the purposes of losing weight. I've never really had a problem, quote unquote, with alcohol. Why am I defending it?
No,
maybe
sure.
I do have a problem. But I've been sober, and I gotta say, it's just as boring as I remember. Just the most
Sure.
boring. I'm definitely wide awake for this nightmare that we're all experiencing.
Yeah, that's
I've
nice.
replaced it with coffee, which is the worst thing you can do. I mean, not at like 9 p.m. sipping a coffee, but I'll just drink coffee idly instead of going like, oh, I should really like make a drink at 5 p.m. And now all I've lost, of course, is patience.
Sure.
Patience with people. I remember the last time I went for an extended, almost a full year of no booze at all. First of all, I still got depressed in the fall, and then I was like, okay, so it wasn't that, and it didn't fix all my problems.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, maybe it's just I was drinking too much, and I should just calm it down. I remember distinctly being around a bunch of people, and we were supposed to go from this club to the next club, but everyone had just ordered a pint, and they were sipping it, and they were only about a quarter done with their drinks, and they said, yeah, we'll go right after this drink. And I remember the rage inside me just thinking, no, put your drink down.
Sure.
Let's go. We're trying to meet people there.
Sure.
And I forgot that drunks like don't care. And the other people we were meeting were drunk and
Also didn't care.
And also just the dumbest thing in New York City where you can take a train everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, well, I don't have even the excuse that I'm a designated driver. I'm just some guy.
You're just
standing
choosing
around.
to have less fun.
I would love to have less fun. And you know what? I like that it causes brain damage. That is
Sure.
helpful to my career and life.
Like we need all that brain.
I don't need all that.
Clearly,
brain.
it's not
you only
helping.
use 10% of your brain. They say in movies, even though that's not true.
I say let's get it down to 8.
Get it down to 8, please.
Now I have 2 questions.
Mm-hmm.
One, since you've been sober, have you found that your boners have been stronger?
No, because I still eat meat. And they say
Okay.
that if you eat meat, I replaced it with all that ground beef.
You're just eating a pound of 80-20 ground beef. That's actually kind of lean.
No, I still gotta, I gotta call the doctor about those blue chews.
Well, that's age.
Never did it.
That's age.
That's, yeah.
And then my second question was that I have to apologize. I wasn't really listening to most of what you were saying, but it was because in my head I was trying to think of what the heroin equivalent of California sober would be. So it's
sure.
like if you just do
That's perfect.
you're sober, but you just do
Well,
heroin.
that's Tompkins Square Park sober.
That's good.
Where you're like, well, I would never, ever touch a 40 ounce, but I would try meth and heroin.
So let's just do a quick hold, and I'll just say Tompkins Square Park sober, and then you can cut that in later. I think that's called Tompkins Square Park sober. You know who isn't Tompkins Square Park sober? Our guest.
No, she's full of heroin.
Absolutely. Heroin and I think intelligent ideas. So maybe heroin's not so bad.
Yes.
You know?
Our guest today is Orli Matlow. She is the host of War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast. It's longer than that.
There's
She
more
says it
to
a
the
few
title.
More times. I also got it wrong just now.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to correct it because she will correct it. And that's what she's doing for this whole hour, is correcting us about whether or not war is necessary. And I had a hot take. It's that war is cool as fuck.
And listen to them duke it out right after this.
My mom picked up the NFL as an empty nester.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now this is where we're starting.
Exactly. That's her obsession. So I guess I come from a long line of obsessive people, both clinically and and informally. But it wasn't a big part of my childhood, but now football season, my mom is all in on the Buffalo Bills because I'm from Toronto and
Sure.
that's the neighbors.
Wow.
So she's not getting into the Argonauts or any,
No,
no?
the CFL
No
doesn't have the
CFL?
spice.
Sure, that's fair. I did see a thing that because there's a big, there's a Toronto, there's a Buffalo, the Toronto connection, and in the modern times they're concerned because there's like industries based on like tourism industries based on like shuttling Canadians to Buffalo like a couple of times a year.
Yeah, to go to the
games.
Galleria
Yeah.
Mall to get this. It was a huge part of my childhood to go to the Galleria Mall in Buffalo because we didn't get Abercrombie and Limited 2.
Oh wow!
In Canada. So in order to keep up with all the people in my class who would shop at Abercrombie at the Aventura Mall when they visited their grandparents in Florida in Boca Raton, we didn't go to Florida, so we had to go to Buffalo. But also, this is a fun story. This was my best COVID anecdote. Speaking of Buffalo, there was an incredible hustle that they had down. So in 2021, if you wanted to fly into Canada, you then had to spend 2 weeks quarantined in a government hotel. But or no, it was like a few nights at a government hotel, and then you could go to your point of destination. But if you enter on foot or by car, then you can just quarantine at your final destination. So instead of flying from here to Toronto, I flew from Newark to Buffalo and then took a cab from Buffalo, New York to Niagara Falls, New York, and then walked across the Rainbow Bridge.
Oh,
incredible.
And entered Canada on foot. And my family met me on the other side. So it's funny, like waiting in line at customs, like texting my dad, I'm like, do you hear the steel drums? Like, are we close? So
Now, I went on my honeymoon to Niagara Falls, and we had to stay on the American side. and it's a little sad.
Yeah.
It's not.
The
And
horseshoe.
You can see in the background the needle and like a Ferris wheel, and you're like, oh, it looks fun over on the Canadian side.
The Canadian
over
side
here.
rules. It's also plenty of haunted houses. It's I think it might be the haunted house
Well, I had just
capital.
gotten married, and that's
Yeah, they are redundant.
already in a horror film. I did have 1 second where we were watching. If you take the boat around Niagara Falls, they don't take you underneath the falls, you die. But that does.
The
sound
Maid in a
fun,
Mist,
too.
like Jim and Pam.
Just beautiful. Yes, it sounds hacky because they go in the office, but just for 3 seconds, I had some awe in my life. I was like, this is insane. This is too intense. I shouldn't even be here. I was a little scared. And then my phone buzzed because it told me I was roaming and I was technically in Canada. And I was like, that's right. I got you, you fucks. I made it over. Doesn't matter about quarantining. I was there for 3. Anyway, that was 3 seconds.
You killed a lot of people.
I killed so many people on that boat. They were all.
Yeah, should have quarantined.
There was also, I think the funniest part was there was like a 6-month-old baby, and they were just showing him the falls. And I was like, he's not going to remember this.
No.
They bought him a ticket.
That's scary. Like the water pressure.
Oh, he was having a great time.
Reminded him of the amniotic fluid of the
The big waterfall.
the golden
when he came out.
days.
Yeah.
Now, Orly,
Yes.
thank you for being here. Now, Orly, I'm sure you know this, but we're here to talk about obsessions. And I always say it doesn't have to be obsessions. As somebody who almost has no interest in my life, it can just be an interest. It can be a passing. But you seem to see like you come from an obsessive line. I'm not going to say freaks, but people that love to obsess.
Yes.
And what were some early obsessions in your life, would you say?
My bedroom in Toronto is wall to ceiling Broadway posters.
Oh, wow.
Right.
And so starting in, I believe the first one was 2003, Bernadette Peters' Gypsy.
Okay.
And then the last one is 2011. It was funny, and just since we're talking about COVID, I lasted 4 months in my childhood bedroom because it was a time capsule. Because the last poster was 2011, the Book of Mormon.
Right.
So in that room, it's like no time has passed since.
Now, where did the Broadway love come from? That's my question.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that is interesting.
Let's get into it.
I guess yeah. I guess everyone's gateway drug is the Disney musicals.
Sure.
Like as millennials, like we were all vulnerable.
I have a theory, just as a side note, about Disney musicals that I blame Disney for AI.
Interesting.
Because they made it seem fun if things that couldn't talk did talk.
That is correct.
So the idea of, it'd be fun if a candlestick could sing and dance. And now, the robots are coming to kill us all. And everybody's fine with it.
Yeah, that's threatening.
I think so. I think so, at least.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
No, I assumed that your love of musicals would have started because you got shoved in musical theater. Did you not do musical theater?
Oh, I did, but I guess it's a chicken and egg scenario.
Oh, okay. That's what I wanted.
But my first musical, incidentally, I played Sebastian in The Little Mermaid.
There you go.
In the summer after grade 2, we call it.
Sure.
This is the exotic foreign nomenclature. The summer after second grade, played Sebastian, and then it's dangerous. Then once you realize as a kid that you can thrive on attention, you might never outgrow it and be an adult stand-up comedian.
yeah.
No, it
I'm
screwed us.
chasing that high.
Yeah.
Being guard number 1 in Wizard of Oz.
Absolutely.
And I crushed. I killed it. That's a horse of a different color.
Those are iconic lines.
2 once.
Well, I don't know if you had this. I had this as somebody who has no singing ability. So when I was in acting, I would always get the best role that never sang a word. So yeah.
Always like the sagely grandfather.
Sure. I remember that we did this musical, Give My Regards to Broadway, and I was Bugsy, the gangster. And the big laugh was that in the script, at one point, I was supposed to pull out a gun. but we were like in 5th grade, so we were like, we're not going to do that. Now I'm sure people would be cheering. Oh yeah, he's got a gun.
Yeah, this is America.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was a different time, you know. Clinton was not in office anyway. But I remember. But so instead, I pulled out a banana.
Oh, that's funny.
Big pop, huge pop, but. We did multiple shows, and I forgot to take the banana out of my jacket between days. So the next day, it was just a fully brown, repulsive
You
banana.
didn't read banana? People were like, what is that?
This guy's pulling out a little dookie.
Yeah.
Now,
Turd.
as an adult man, would you wear a fedora?
No.
Okay, I'm just
no.
wondering.
Of course, you've known me long enough.
I don't know. I'm balding. I'm
It is tricky because I always feel like when you begin to go bald, you want to go hat right away.
Interesting. You make it part of your identity so it doesn't register with people anymore.
You establish the hat, but as you get older, it's harder to find hats that don't make you look like an asshole. I feel like because it's like fedoras, it's like the little caddy hat,
Toronto Raptors.
Yeah.
hat.
You can wear a sports hat, and that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. But I like the hot rich guy, just the plain cap.
Yes, the Kendall Roy,
Yes.
like tweed baseball hat.
Yes.
Yeah, I like a hat that looks like you're trying not to be recognized on the subway.
Ooh.
Yeah,
You
that's
know
what
I
I'm.
mean?
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
black hat, and you just see like a really hot person wearing a black hat. You're like, they must be famous. And
Absolutely.
I just stare at them, and I pretend I'm drawing them, but I don't know how to draw. Deep stare. Just so I can look at them
I
and
do
feel
love-
flattered. At the
They'd
same
be,
time.
oh, the stranger is drawing me on the subway. What a treat. I remember seeing John Mulaney on the street years ago wearing one of those hats, and it was the first time I had ever seen a Canada Goose jacket.
Oh, wow.
And I remember thinking, I need this jacket.
Yeah, he made it.
And then I looked it up, and I was like, I cannot afford this jacket. Yeah.
Were those available on that side? Is it an actual Canadian product? A Canada Goose?
Enough that we pride ourselves on it.
Oh, good.
Except I do
Canada
remember.
Dry, they're bottling it in Germany or whatever. I don't know.
Really?
I don't actually know.
Yeah. Then that's better because they might have better tariffs.
There you go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I remember reading once when the Canada Goose boom of 2013, there was a article on The Cut, and it said, like, when the revolution comes, the first people to be guillotined will be the people in Canada Goose jackets. So I had one as a
Okay.
Canadian, but
Nice.
then
That's what
I
I
was
wanted to
like,
hear.
I need to humble myself.
Yeah, they've taken. I don't care deeply about it, but they have taken a little bit of a negative turn. I feel like.
Yeah.
'Cause aren't they using real feathers or something?
Exactly. I remember there was enough ads.
Yeah.
PETA's all up in that.
Now, is there a musical that only Canadians would know about it? Because there are a lot of Canadian pop culture things, like now I can't even think of the band's name, but the biggest rock band in
Bare Naked
Canada.
Ladies.
No, that belongs to us. We claimed it.
Smash Mouth for
it'll
the
come
Canadian.
to me.
The
It'll come
Canadian?
to me, and we'll all.
There is our
They have like an
Hamilton.
emo name. Don't worry about it. Yeah, what's your Hamilton?
Our Hamilton is Come From Away, which is the musical about how nice we were to Americans on 9/11, which makes for naturally an incredible musical.
And Argo sort of belongs to you, the movie.
Yes.
But that's an American movie. So.
But
they
we are the
praise
heroes.
Canada.
Victor Garber, real Canadian.
Okay.
Nice.
I didn't realize Come From Away is it mostly they're waiting for in an airport, right? Is that what's
Yeah,
going
there
on? Yeah.
it was when American airspace closed on 9/11. You guys know 9/11.
I forgot recently.
Yeah, you said you'd never forget.
It's come up every time we've been on this podcast, by the way. So if there was an obsession in the footnotes, it would be, why do these guys keep joking about that tragedy?
But it was a tragedy, but it also gave us a beautiful musical when all the planes were then grounded in Gander, Newfoundland.
Oh.
And the whole
get a
community then like quadrupled in size and took care of all the stranded passengers.
Wow. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's what the musical is about?
Yes, exactly. So it's like, look how nice and Canadians are.
I love that.
And it lost
Here we
the
go.
Tony to Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh boy.
Ugh.
Which
That old man.
sucks. Yeah.
I don't know. That song that Julianne Moore sings, It got me.
Oh my God. So
I wept, and then it made me forget that man was 40
Yeah.
in the movie. He's playing a teenager, and you're like, I guess they had to use that guy.
yeah, Ben
just
Platt,
put
they
a little
wrote it
makeup
for
on
him.
That's why we need AI, is to not scare children.
They should have
with a
Irishman
40-year-old man.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Do that makeup.
I thought of the name of the band, and it's Tragically Hip.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
The
sure.
Canadian. I had never heard of them until I met a Canadian. Like I didn't branch out into Canadian culture, and then someone was like, "You don't know what Tragically Hip?" And then I listened to them, and I was like, "This sounds like a normal band."
And yeah, they have a song, I think it's theirs, that's called Toronto Sucks. So I remember like downloading it on LimeWire.
That's fun.
Like
Oh,
to
yeah.
feel edgy. And it's like, Toronto sucks, Ontario sucks.
Is there has to be, I imagine, in like, I'm not good at geography, but let's say middle Canada that isn't Toronto or Vancouver or Montreal. Is there a hostility towards the cities? Would be anywhere? Yeah, sure, of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Except it's like the same dynamic of like coastal elites.
Yeah, sure.
Except the coasts are or the East Coast is maritime, so they're authentic Canadians.
Okay.
But there is people
People don't like
vibe.
people who think they're so great. I understand. It's the same thing here. I love cities, and I love New York. But at the same time, when people are like, New York is the greatest city in the world and we'll overcome everything, it's like, what are we doing? I had a real pet peeve when Sandy happened. What really got my goat as somebody from New Orleans when Sandy happened was that they were like, the strength of the New Yorkers
Oh, wow.
will overcome this. And then when Katrina happened, they were like, well, they should have known what was coming. And it's just like because the money's here.
Yeah.
That's why. That's all it is. You guys have the money. But yeah.
I remember, Bruce Springsteen then like raising money for the Jersey Shore.
Sure. Where were you in 2005, Bruce?
Yeah.
We had to have Kanye West speaking up for us. We didn't have Bruce Springsteen. But we're not here to talk about. Well, we could talk about Bruce Springsteen, but we're not here to talk about Katrina. That's my own.
That
podcast.
actually is a great seg. Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA, iconic anti-war anthem
Absolutely.
that everyone forgets is an anti-war anthem.
100%.
Right.
That was one word. Didn't Reagan want to use that as like a campaign song?
Yeah.
They're like, buddy, this is not. You got to listen to the lyrics, I know you're senile, but listen to the lyrics, my friend. Yeah. So you have a podcast now called.
Yes, it's a long name, so I'll take it. It's War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war.
Fantastic.
I think that gives people exactly your take.
Exactly.
And I listened to the most recent episode, which was a hot take that World War II, not that great.
Right. Yeah.
Greatest Generation, not that great. That's not what the podcast is. I'm just summarizing it so that you get shit.
Well, they're too old to listen to a podcast anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be able to find
No,
this.
I can't imagine.
They can't hear it.
Yeah.
They were deafened at Normandy
No, sure.
by the bombs.
Now, where
And
did
machine
the
guns.
war fascination come from? I can guess, but where did this spurn you? How did this come about?
Yeah, this is it's the podcast. So it's called A War is Stupid, an anti-war podcast about war. The podcast that challenges the centuries-old conventional wisdom that war is the smart and sensible thing to do.
Was not expecting a second
wow.
title.
Yes,
Wow.
Yeah.
You need that.
we could keep going,
Yeah, of course.
but I'm gonna say it.
Do it.
What drove me into this rabbit hole, this work, is a little thing called Israel Palestine.
Sure. Finally, we can talk about it.
I know, eh? This is
Finally, we've been waiting. Our show about hobbies. We said we gotta talk about October 7th.
Exactly. I grew up, family in Israel. It's a really small country, so you probably haven't heard of it.
So you have family currently in Israel.
Yes, yeah, and we'd go every year growing up. So like saluting the IDF was just like a regular part of my childhood.
Well, let me ask you this: as somebody who has, I get the Times. I have some idea, but nowhere near. When you were a kid, Because obviously, I've gathered that the Israel-Palestine stuff has been going on for a little while, longer than maybe the past year. So when you were a kid, what was your vibes about this conflict? What was the feeling? Just, I guess amongst the family or just people you knew or whatever.
Yeah, like in the shtetl, the Jewish bubble I grew up in, it's like Israel is a sports team. It's like war.
Sure.
Yeah,
interesting.
war is just sports. You wear the colors, wave the flag, root for the team, and the consequences be damned.
Sure. So I don't know, of course, but I imagine there's more, like you're saying, it's more just a pro-Israel, but maybe not even fiery, but it's just kind of the way it is, and we're not thinking about maybe so much of what's going on the other side.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's all orange juice and Wonder Woman.
Sure.
Yeah, like when
You guys have orange juice? Did you guys do orange?
Jaffa orange juice, they're Israel's so proud of their orange juice.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it was a huge part of my childhood. Like, wow, there's nothing like those Jaffa oranges.
Better than Minute Maid.
Yeah,
You have to root for the Florida Oranges.
right.
Yeah,
and
sure.
now,
Sutherland whispering in my ear.
fruit nationalism is serious.
I'm gonna go back to musical theater.
Yeah.
Nationalism, folks. Okay.
But then recently, I was like, hey, treating war like sports is bad.
Sure.
Because also, that's what sports are for.
Right.
Yeah, well, I do always feel like one of the nice things about sports is it is a good outlet for a lot of human evil.
Exactly.
Yes. So even then, I'm not a huge fan of international sports, but that is like a way to get nationalistic feelings out, and like hockey is a great way to get aggression out.
Exactly. And even on a global stage, if you want to root for your country, there's the Olympics every 2 years, and as a Canadian, the Winter Olympics absolutely do count. So
Of course.
so if you want to wave a flag and root for your team, the healthy thing to do is to do it in the context of sports.
Yes.
But no, I've watched people reduce real human tragedy, and unless it's the NFL, you can comfortably watch sports knowing that people don't die.
Yeah, sure. Sure. Yeah, of
Your
course.
heart stopping. But
Of course.
Yeah.
it's interesting to think about sports because now I think there is just fashion or a single word that just gets people in trouble.
Yeah.
So you see somebody in a certain fashion, in a certain scarf, and now you hate them, and that's like seeing somebody in a Jets jersey.
Right.
And you just hate them for no reason. You don't know any of their ideology except that they were brave enough. We'll pause for that.
Yeah, sure. The cops isn't that fun? The cops are coming.
The cops
Isn't
are
that-
arresting
that's always
me
fun.
because I brought this
That's
up.
always a fun joke. It's always a funny person who makes that joke.
Sports is a good analogy because if you see a guy in an Eagles jacket,
Yeah.
you know how they be wearing jackets. You see somebody who's supporting the Eagles, but not supporting Gritty specifically. They're supporting the team. You're allowed to hate them for being from Philadelphia and rooting for that team for no reason. Mm-hmm. Absolutely no reason. I wear an Ohio State shirt sometimes, and people tell me to take it off.
Wow,
and I'm like, well, that's weird.
Because now it's associated with JD Vance.
That's why I bought it.
Your
but I like
doppelganger.
Ohio State. And we can talk about war and JD Vance a little bit. 'cause
Yeah.
I have a hot take for all of you. But I was thinking about the fact that, you wear the scarf. People just assume your ideology. I would assume you're anti-genocide and pro-Palestine. But something about even saying I'm pro-Palestine, anti-genocide, puts you in a little corner. Like I said it just now and I'm sweating.
Right, exactly. The alarm will sound again. They will come for you.
But it is silly because that's a sports mentality and a war mentality.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, well, this is what that person stands for. If they use the word intifada, it's done. And now we're at the point where you can ask somebody, would you use the word intifada? And he's like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't use that word. And they're like, well, now that guy hates Jews. And now
Right.
that's going to be our next mayor. Even though he never said the word. He just doesn't want to go on TV and
'Cause it quite literally
condemning
is
Hamas
just-
every single day.
Yeah, it's. Do you condemn the Arabic word for uprising? It's like, dude, it's a
a word.
language. Yeah. So I developed war is stupid because people always assume people are like, oh, it's just you don't understand. It's so complicated. There's leave it to the experts.
Yeah, you need to find out who's going to make the most money from it. You don't have an economics degree, so you don't
Exactly.
actually get why Halliburton needs this.
Had I finished that semester, then I'd be all for it and be like, yeah, absolutely. Let's sacrifice hundreds of thousands of people on both sides for the stockholders of the weapons manufacturers. Like,
Well, that's an American war.
yeah.
We're talking about the Middle East. We don't have to talk about the Middle East, by the way. We can just talk in general about your podcast.
I do think, just real quick, something I think about sometimes is just when the conflict and whatnot is like, so like the Curb Your Enthusiasm Palestinian chicken, which is a great episode.
And the GIF that keeps on giving. Just
Absolutely.
like Larry David standing there in between the two. It's like, people want to eat chicken, man.
Yeah, of course. And there is just interesting to me because it's comedy, and I think it's very well executed, but it's also, I have more knowledge now, but especially at that time would have such little knowledge of the conflict that I would not be anywhere aware of the nuance where you would just see, well, I guess Palestine must be bad because they want to kill all these Jewish people or whatever. But now, and then more awareness comes in, and it shouldn't be so tribal or whatnot, if that makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
It's at its heart a tribal argument. It's about who lives there.
Yeah.
And then an ethno-state. So it is your team versus their team.
Yeah.
And which side you fall on. So all that stuff I said about how it's not black and white, it is pretty black and white.
But yeah, it all just comes down to what scarf you wear. Is it a tallis or is it a keffiyeh?
Now, because your most recent episode was about World War II, and I actually think this is a hotter take to tell the greatest generation to stop listening to your podcast. That's what you said. You said, here's your barrier to entry. You have to listen to this. That I come from a book. It was a speech, I believe, and I can't remember who the writer is. It was a book called War is a Racket.
Yes, Smedley Butler.
There it is.
Smedley?
Smedley. It's a shame people don't name their kids Smedley anymore.
Is it?
I'm naming my kid Smedley after this man.
Yeah, you got to be a learned man when you're Smedley. That guy's not wearing a black hat and Canada Goose jacket. Yeah.
But he's obsessed with fashion, because I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Talks about how many boots are going to sell if you go to war with Japan and Germany. I think it's about World War I.
Yeah,
it's about World War I, which was a better war. Back when we had the mustard gas, delicious.
Dad,
Put it on a hot dog.
The worst fucking thing that's ever happened in the 20th century until that other thing.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking about War is a Racket. The posits that every single war isn't stupid. It's actually a money grab.
yeah.
Yeah, sure.
It's a way to produce things, and capitalism needs it. And in fact, World War II is what brought us out of the Depression.
Yeah.
And then made us kings of the world. And so I just wondered, do you think war's stupid now? or what? And I just wondered if you could, not to make you reiterate everything you said on that podcast, because it is nuanced, why did you come to the conclusion that World War II counts as not one of the good ones?
Yeah, I think the more I read, the more I realized that the way we talk about World War II comes from Steven Spielberg as opposed to the actual people who fought it. Like the people who fought in World War II, including Howard Zinn, the historian from Good Will Hunting. Like, he was a bombardier in World War II, and he volunteered, and he was like, awesome. Like, this is a righteous cause to defeat fascism. But the way it was fought was just with 40 million people died in 5 years. That didn't need to happen.
Right.
Like, there are other ways of doing things, or at least not funding the Nazis and German industrialists and letting things get to that point.
I just read about the Marshall Plan for the first time, which is the 1947, how do we conquer the whole world and keep ourselves safe from communism? And a big part of it there were economists and people in charge who were like, the Germans deserve to starve for this.
Yeah.
And they were like, that's exactly what we did
The first
time, and that's how they came back. So you cannot just abandon the farms.
Exactly.
Like, you have to just not let them have a military and feed them, because not everybody was,
Yeah, World War II, it bombed the Nazis to smithereens. So you could say that defeated them. But the actual real denazification came from then helping Germany build a new constitution. And
Right.
the actual helpful things in terms of why we're not at war with Germany anymore came from statecraft.
Right.
So the thing with Israel Palestine, when people are like, there's no hope, people will just kill each other forever, and it's like, dude, you're driving a BMW on your way to eat sushi. You were at war with Japan and Germany. They were the biggest bad the world had ever seen, and then now we're buddies. So it just, by not oppressing people, by letting them have food, they'll be less inclined to kill you.
Absolutely. It's a hot take,
Yeah.
but I think there's merit to it, I believe.
So the whole paradigm of bomb each other's to smithereens, that's how we make things better.
Now, without German and Japanese food, though, I would be thinner. So
Yeah.
I would like
That's
to
a
go
good point.
back
That's a
and
good point.
say,
I don't know if American food would be the key to a hot body, but yeah.
McDonald's?
I do. McDonald's diplomacy, that was a huge part of the Cold War. When Russia started, the USSR started modernizing, the fact that they got Pizza Hut. I think it was Gorbachev who was literally in a commercial for Pizza Hut. So at the end of the
he had
day,
that slice of pizza on it.
yeah.
Come on. We got his ass.
Yeah.
Now it's a comedy podcast.
Exactly. The pizza sauce.
So how would you, big swing here, how would you prevent war?
Yeah.
With everything that's going on, with the fact that there was terrorism, because I get a little squeamish.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When the left, I have a lot of lefty friends, and sometimes they're like, the only way to buck the trend of apartheid, of being oppressed, is that you occasionally have to kill people. I want to make this really explicit. I'm not saying I agree with this, but I was talking to somebody, and she was like, even Gandhi, it's like, we all remember the strike, the hunger strike.
Sure.
But you don't remember them just setting fire to things.
Yeah, Nelson Mandela was classified as a terrorist until the Obama administration here. I think the coolest thing that's happened, and let's hope it stays real. The more I learned about war, so episode 1 is about World War I, episode 2 is about World War II, and the European Union is proof that if you make it mutually beneficial to not kill each other, then it can work. Because England and France, we're major enemies for 400 years. I'm a huge fan of ABBA, and their song Waterloo is about when Napoleon did surrender. There was a time when France was invading all their neighbors and just the biggest enemy. But then now
himself emperor, doing things that were anti-democratic.
But then in Europe,
think of him being the most democratic, liberal.
Exactly,
place.
Liberté, Equalité. Happy belated Bastille Day! It all rhymes.
Sure, finally,
to you and
exactly
yours.
two days later.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I would love to invade a prison.
Yeah. Oh,
and
that
free
does sound
people.
fun.
I think we're gonna have to do it. Honestly, that's the next. Is I don't even think we need to talk about war. We probably have to talk about domestic things and fighting a guy with a Confederate flag bumper sticker more so than.
Yeah. Speaking of bad hats. Yeah, bad vibes coming off any Confederate flag.
It's kind of funny. When I was
Fashion.
thinking about it while we were talking about sports, etc. I went to a Renaissance fair. Already funny.
Yeah.
But I saw these people in anti-Hillary shirts.
Oh my gosh.
Confederate flag shirts, and I was like, "You're in the
Wrong
you're doing the
era."
wrong cosplay, man.
Yeah, yeah,
the
sure.
wrong one." But when I saw them, I wasn't mad. I wasn't like these fucking people because they're lost.
Yeah.
And they're not oppressing me. They're just being fucking idiots and believing whatever Tucker Carlson says or their priest, and it's not a threat to me, so I don't feel...
Well, so much of any of this stuff really is just about leaving the 5-block radius of where you live.
Yes.
And interacting with people of different... I grew up in the South. I'm from Louisiana. I wasn't waving a Confederate flag around, but it definitely was around. And I had always felt, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's really a racist symbol. It's just kind of a thing from a past, yada, yada, yada. And then you move and you're around I was around black people, but you're around maybe different black people from a different area. And you're like, oh, well, this hurts your feelings or this is upsetting.
Right.
So we probably just don't need to have, it's really not that big a deal. We can probably just do away with it.
How do you feel about that Randy Newman song? All right, let's never speak about it.
I love that song, but we don't have to talk about it.
It was just the last conversation I had with a group of black dudes who are all rappers. Not to name drop style of music.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like to do. And we were talking about if the Randy Newman song...
Rednecks. You're talking about Rednecks.
Oh, yeah, it's Rednecks. If it was kosher. And they were all like, I don't think you can defend this. And I was like, you're right.
Oh, interesting. I don't know. I guess it's no, you've got a friend in me.
No. Well, the song...
It's a little bit like that.
the song is... What the song is about...
Yes.
Is the concept that... And this still exists to this day, I would say, is that people in the North or on the coast like to look at racism as America as something that exists only in the South. And they go, oh my God, those dumb Southerners. If they could ever figure it out like we have. Now, in making his point, he says the N-word roughly 47 times.
Oh, wow.
So that's why it's the... And I understand what he's going for, but I also get... It's the same thing, honestly... You know, the vacation movies, the first vacation movie, I love the first vacation movie. There's that scene where they go through St. Louis and they go through a black neighborhood and they're immediately scared and they ask these black guys for directions and the black guys give them wrong directions and fuck up their car.
Right.
And I always felt like, well, the joke is on the Griswolds, is on these people being stupid and ignorant. But then I remember listening to a podcast where I heard a black person go, and he was like, it's very funny, but it's definitely racist.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. I guess
Especially because you know that Chevy Chase was actually scared.
Oh, sure, sure, yeah. I'm sure Chevy said some great stuff off camera. I'm sure he kept it really loose and light for everybody on that
Great
set.
co-star.
Yeah,
Friendly and generous at craft services.
Absolutely. But so much of it is just, it's like silly, but I always just, to me, it's so fascinating or insane to me that somebody and I'll say Alabama because I'm from the South, I can make fun of it. Somebody in Alabama in like a trailer with very little going in their life being like, well, clearly I understand how the world should be run.
Yeah.
I have so much going for me. So it's just so much of it, any of the stuff is just spending 10 seconds to go outside of your world and to hear somebody else's perspective.
And like asking like, what is worth killing someone over?
Yeah, sure.
Like, is it worth killing someone over a scarf?
Getting my coffee order
Yeah.
wrong. I'm Adam Carolla.
Like, yeah, I think the most important thing is like it's super fun to cheer on war when it's not you or your family fighting in it or you're not in the war zone, but you gotta appeal to people's self-interest or at the very least try to make people see inherent value in all living people. I know that's very kumbaya.
Well, let me ask you this: is there a one good one? Was there one war where you're like, you know what? That's Grenada. Was that a? That was
Well,
probably not a
yeah.
good one.
It wasn't racist when Athens fought Sparta.
Exactly.
They were basically the same race. I think. Please don't tell us Martin, that I
Some
said
Spartans
that.
coming at you.
This is to your point, but like as a white lady who's anti-war, then like I do. Then when people are like, well, then what about like slave rebellions and
Sure.
armed resistance?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh shit. So then the onus is on the slaveholders to not have let it get to that point. So like, as someone who's anti-war, then I'm anti-slavery.
So you're anti-slavery, but you also think that a slave driver should be nicer.
Yeah.
If we have to have.
If you're there,
If you're there.
have a little nice, jolly
Just
attitude.
be nice.
Have better
a good
craft
guy.
services.
Absolutely.
That's where the term pork barreling comes from in politics. There's a term where, like in Alaska, where they did the carve-outs for Medicaid so that woman would vote for, I don't know why I'm drawing the shape of Alaska in front of
Oh,
their
interesting.
eyeballs.
Yeah.
Is that what that was?
I was like,
Yeah, I did not get it.
I thought it was
Yeah.
a pig's
doing
tail.
I see. This is the Yukon. Yeah. Canada's over here.
is it Marsha Blackburn? Am I making that up? It doesn't matter. There's a woman.
The Senator Lisa Murkowski.
Senator, yes. There's a senator from Alaska who made sure there were carve-outs for Medicaid in her state only, but everybody else was going to get screwed. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
pork barreling.
Yeah.
And it comes from when you're like, well, we're going to have a slave rebellion unless we bring these guys a big barrel of pork.
Wow,
It's
yeah.
a literal pork
Interesting.
barrel, I believe. I hope I didn't make this up. But I'm just thinking of like... this is like the worst way to talk about it, but there does have to be something really awful happening to a group of people for them to fight another group.
Yeah,
except for America going to war in Iraq.
Exactly.
Where it didn't mean anything and
Yeah.
it was a money grab or oil or who knows what the fuck was happening.
Oh, you're saying that was a bad one?
The war in Iraq?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I
Oh,
was going to
okay.
bring in my JD Vance hot take, which no one, it's not a hot take, but it's no one will bring it up with him as he talks about it's okay to bomb Iran, it's okay to support Israel, it's okay to, they're supporting Ukraine again. They started to send weapons to Ukraine. They ran on, we're not doing that anymore. No one knows when JD Vance decided he was against the war in Iraq, but he's against it now. He went on Ross Douthat's podcast and said, oh, that was a mistake. I always thought that. He didn't say I always thought that was a mistake. He said, oh, that was a mistake. But he was defending it after WikiLeaks. So that's 2010, 2011. And it's visual proof of us killing civilians with guns. And we killed like 500,000 civilians up to that point in Iraq. Some of it eclipsing when we were actually at war with them. And he supported it that whole time, including when he was there. You know, bless you for your service, but I hate this war. He made it all the way to 2011, 2012. And then it wasn't until he was running for something in Ohio that he was like, oh, I hate the war in Iraq. I'm with you guys. I'm on like the Obama side. And Trump is America's Hitler. And
Yeah.
I hate foreign wars. And no one has ever asked him that I've heard, hey, what was it? Was there like a picture of...
Yeah, so-
did you have kids and you decided maybe we shouldn't be killing children? Like, what was it? No one's ever asked him. He's never answered it. He's just decided it's unpopular now. So I also hate that war.
They get away with everything. Like, it's been 10 years and like no one has followed up. Okay, what does "Make America Great Again" even mean? Like, when was America great? Like, but Zoran Mamdani, like, you were once in the presence of someone who speaks Arabic. How do you feel?
Yes.
Like, it's not fair. Republicans get away with never having to answer for anything.
Well, hopefully this Epstein, people
Yeah,
are so
OT.
rapt. Yeah.
Well, I'm a person who's never been held accountable for his wrongs.
Yeah.
and
Sure.
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm
it's not bad.
really enjoying it. That's not true at all. I can hear my mom's about to email me about this podcast. And that's accountability.
Well, let me ask you this, Orly. Now, this seems like an odd question, but let's say somebody wanted to get into war,
Understanding
let's say- or maybe understanding it, not starting their own war.
I was about to say, yeah,
but
like,
someone wanted to, because assume I see World War II as a solid thing. I'm not marching about it or anything, but going, my ignorance and some college education.
I'd love to see you at a protest being like, World War II was fine.
Just the one guy. And everybody's like, yeah,
What?
okay.
Okay,
yeah,
man.
we know, man. But where would you, aside from reading Howard Zinn, what would be the methods you would say? Or maybe don't read Howard Zinn. I don't know.
Or no, yeah,
How do
Howard
you get
Zinn
into
rules.
pacifism?
There's another good book I really like called War is a Lie by David Swanson.
Better name than Smedley.
Yes.
I'll say that, yeah.
Yeah, there's no other highlights. I guess my podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
that's
I
I'm
mean, what else?
exactly. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Now-
I'll read it for you.
My follow-up to Zach's
Yeah.
question, because we always ask, how can you get more into war? And you can keep thinking about that. How can I get into war as a man and not also think it's kind of cool?
Yeah.
Because I see some rockets shooting, or I see like Normandy sort of does it for me. And you were talking about on the podcast that Howard Zinn said I was drawn in by Spielberg's depiction of Normandy, which from interviews I've read and stuff is the most accurate depiction
Yeah.
of what was happening
This-
and how bad it was. Not necessarily it's heroic, but it was gruesome.
This goes back to the beginning. People in the media like war for the same reason I like musical theater.
Yeah.
Because it provides the dramatic visuals and heightens emotions. So there are a lot of left wing veterans who went through the meat grinder and have said, "Wow, that sucks." And that's interesting about World War II. Like the people came, they're like, "Yay, we defeated fascism. We didn't do this, so 5 years later you'd send our sons to Korea." So like there are some great groups, like About Face, Veterans for Peace. So you can get like the cool gritty stories, but like from the perspective from people who are actually there, as opposed to the perspectives of people who just want to make a fun movie.
Sure.
Right.
I never really got in the war movies. I don't know if that makes me a good person or a
Yeah.
better person, but
That
yeah.
makes you a good person. Yeah. If you cry at the right part of Ghost,
Yeah.
and then you're mad at war movies. I got sick of them. I went
All
to
the
an all-guy
deserty
school.
ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone was obsessed with Black Hawk Down, and I was like, can't we just be done?
Never saw it.
Can't we be done?
I saw Jarhead, but Jarhead is kind of an anti-war
Right.
movie.
I like
in
an
some way,
anti-war
yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did see it. Like Apocalypse Now, hot
Sure.
take is a good movie
Apocalypse Now is good, yes.
because that just speaks to like who's the real savage here.
Absolutely.
And it's interesting. Like all the Vietnam movies are now like people say, yeah, Vietnam sucked, but that didn't stop anyone from doing more Vietnams. It's a shame. Like Vietnam gave us Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA.
Sure.
But then all the post 9/11 wars got us. We're American Idiot.
Keith.
Sure, little Toby Keith, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the music was not as good for the Irish, which should tell you something.
Right.
I think, yeah, at least about the culture.
So like the culture coming out of this Israel-Palestine war, we got Michael Rappaport going on the Traitors,
There you go.
but like that's not worth it. All this wasted human life just for Michael Rappaport to revive his career and go on the Traitors.
Sure, and he would have done something else. You know,
Yeah.
he was doing those commercials for that mustard. You know, he was doing all right.
Mustard
Yeah.
gas or mustard
I
mustard?
think it was mustard, but who knows what you do? You put it in a liquid or something. Who knows what comes of it?
Now, speaking of wasted lives, this podcast, no,
Yeah.
we're.
Sure.
I did have a question while you're speaking. That the premise of the podcast isn't that war is this silly thing, but that it's stupid. And do you think that we can think our way
Yeah.
out of it and into pacifism? Do you think some of it's silly? The thing that was coming to mind was Dr. Strangelove. Are you a fan of this is actually just a silly boardroom where they're all playing checkers and they're actually idiots? Or is it an evil cabal of witches who are shunning certain members of society and that's what's causing all this? Is it money moving
Yeah.
around? Is it all the above?
It's interesting. Like the war is one of the reasons why war is so stupid, because it like costs so much money that could be spent alleviating the circumstances that lead to war in the first place. Like Afghanistan is a very basic one, like, oh shit, we armed Al Qaeda against the Soviets and now it's coming back to us. Like that keeps happening. That's a stupid thing to do. And like Germany, like, wow, we like blockaded them and then made them pay reparations and the Treaty of Versailles and stuff. And now they have this victim mentality. And then now they're building up again. Like, no, the money spent on buying tanks and Top Gun billion-dollar aircraft carriers and flight and planes that are falling into the Red Sea could be spent on feeding people and letting people see that like there's life beyond armed resistance.
So just so I know I'm following, end all war and Canada Goose jackets, rain from the heavens, and we can all have our little rich guy hats.
Especially in Russia, Ukraine, like it's cold there. If they all just had Canada Goose jackets.
You don't see a lot of fashionable Eastern Europeans. There's something and then maybe that could change.
What are you talking about?
Tracksuit culture?
Yeah. I thought Euro trash was like a whole thing.
No, they all look hideous. But
this guy's starting a war. This guy's trying to go to war with Eastern Europe. So, Orli, where can we find you? Besides the podcast, War is Stupid.
An anti-war podcast about war.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm at Hire Me I'm Funny on all social medias. So please do. I may or may not be rendering myself unhireable with these hot takes, but who knows? Hire Me I'm Funny. It's easier to spell than Orli Matlow, but orlimatlow.com is my website.
Hell yeah.
Good to know.
Thank you, Orli.
Thank you.
Thank you to Orli Matlow. Make sure you hire her because she's funny. And
That's
listen to
it.
her.
Yeah. Hire Me I'm Funny. Perfect handle, I'd say.
Absolutely. Now, Dan, what's your handles?
My
And I'm not talking about
handles-
those love handles.
It's Dan Wilbur Comedy on TikTok, as long as that still exists, and Instagram, and then it's at Dan Wilbur on Blue Sky and everywhere else. You can also follow this podcast anywhere where you get your podcasts. And if you've listened this far, I feel like you have done something for us, but I got to ask more of you. And that's, will you rate it 5 stars, Mom? Will you just go on there on Pocket Cast or whatever you use? Tidal. She loves Jay-Z.
Sure.
So she's on Tidal. Just go on there, rate the podcast, and find us every single week at Young Ethel's at 7:30 in Park Slope.
And I can be found on the TikTok at Zach Sims Comedy, Instagram also Zach Sims, also Blue Sky, Zach Sims Comedy. And until next week, see ya, hobby holers!